The Gospel of Mary. This is another very important, authentic revelation of Yeshua Christ, which you're most likely not going to learn anything about in your local lame church. So let's get right to it. I'm not going to read the entire thing. We actually don't have the entire Gospel of Mary. It's fragmented, but what little of it we do have reveals some profound things. So it starts out by explaining to us that all is one. All matter is one. There's no difference between my flesh and this scarf that I'm wearing and my shirt and this room that I'm in and this box and the earth. It's all one thing. So it starts out, will matter then be destroyed or not? And I believe this is Peter talking to Yeshua, to Christ. The Savior said, all nature, all formations, all creatures exist in and with one another, and they will be resolved again into their own roots. So all formations, all creatures exist in and with one another. He says, for the nature of matter is resolved into the roots of its own nature alone. He who has ears, let him hear. Peter said to him, since you have explained everything to us, tell us this also. What is the sin of the world? What is the sin of the world? What is sin? So this is very contrary to Orthodox fundamentalist Christianity. Christ Yeshua actually explains here that morality is subjective and not objective. That there is no such thing as right or wrong in the way that we see it as far as the universe is concerned. So Christ said, there is no sin, but it is you who make sin when you do the things that are like the nature of adultery, which is called sin. All right, so that's interesting right there. What it says to me is that it's relative to your own guilt that you put on yourself in your own believing if something is right or wrong. So it's subjective. It's like the concept of karma. If I have done something that the society deems to be wrong, if I feel guilty myself and I feel that I deserve to be punished because of what I did, then I'm going to bring on whatever's going to come to me myself. If I do a good deed and I feel like I should be rewarded for it, then I'm going to be rewarded for it because I believe it was right and that I'll be rewarded for it. So there is no karma except what you bring to yourself. It's subjective. Skipping down to verse 30, Christ explains to us the ego, right? Now this describes what we refer to as the ego, or the sense of the individual self confined to the limited 3D material body. He says, matter gave birth to a passion that has no equal. All right? Matter gave birth to a passion that has no equal, which proceeded from something contrary to nature. Then there arises a disturbance in its whole body. Let me read that again, okay? It's talking about the ego. Matter gave birth to a passion that has no equal, which proceeded from something contrary to nature. Then there arises a disturbance in its whole body. So it's describing the sense of the individual self separate from everything else in this lower material realm, which then follows with a disturbance, as we experience here, many disturbances, right? All right, skipping down to verse 34, it says, beware that no one leads you astray, saying, behold here or behold there, for the Son of Man is within you. And this is key. We read in the Supreme Wisdom book that the Son of Man is God. There is no God apart from or separate from or above the Son of Man. The Son of Man is it. In the Supreme Wisdom book, it says there is no mystery God. The Son of Man has searched for the mystery God and was unable to find any mystery God. So the Son of Man has agreed that the only God is the Son of Man. You know, this way they waste no time searching for something that isn't real. So there is no mystery, spooky God up there in the sky looking down on us. There is no deity that's separate from us, watching over us. That's an illusion. It's all you. The Son of Man is you, and it's within you. This is what Christ is saying right here. Don't listen to anyone who says, behold over there or behold over there. The Son of Man, which is God, is you, is within you. Verse 38 is interesting. Christ says, do not lay down any rules beyond what I appointed you, and do not give a law like the lawgiver gives, lest you be constrained by it. So what Christ is saying is follow what I've taught you and Don't submit to the system. Don't submit to the matrix. The matrix is a bunch of BS. So Christ right here says, do not give a law like the lawgiver. Only go by the rules which I appointed you, right? This next section is very interesting because it actually describes Mary as being a leader, as a divine guide among the disciples. It says, Mary stood up. This is Mary Magdalene. Mary stood up, greeted them all, and said to her brethren, do not weep and do not grieve, nor be irresolute, for his grace will be entirely with you and will protect you. So Mary is taking the role of leader here. This is exalting to women. This is uplifting women, unlike passages in the modern Bible we have which are degrading to women. A lot of fundamentalist, Abrahamic, conventional Orthodox religions are in themselves very degrading to women, and it exalts Mary even further. I'm going to get to that. Verse 9 of this second section right here is interesting because it tells you that you can construct your own light. You are the Son of Man. You have the power to shape your reality with your own light, with your own thoughts. It says right here, blessed are you that did not waver at the sight of me, for where the mind is, there is the treasure, right? So although this whole realm of reality is like a video game that your soul is playing, you actually have the power to do the same thing the demiurge did, to construct things, shapes and forms with your own light that you bear, with your own light that you carry. You are the light bearer. You are the carrier of light. You are the Son of Man, right? All right, skipping to verse 17, it gets really interesting. It actually explains that all of this is an illusion that will eventually pass. This whole 3D material matrix that we're experiencing, it's nothing permanent. Like how Buddha says nothing of physical form is permanent, including this solar system, this earth, and the stars and the moon. These are all passing experiences. It says, I was not recognized, but I have recognized that all is being dissolved, both the earthly things and the heavenly things, right? So this illusion will pass. The soul is what is permanent. Your soul is eternal. This earth, this solar system, the moon, the stars are not permanent things. It's all going to pass, right? So speaking of the soul, going on to verse 18, it says, when the soul had overcome the third power, it went upwards and saw the fourth power, which took 7 forms, right? The first form is darkness. The second, desire. The third, ignorance. The fourth is the excitement of death. The fifth is the kingdom of the flesh. The sixth is the foolish wisdom of flesh. The seventh is the wrathful wisdom. These are the 7 powers of wrath. They asked about the soul. These 7 powers asked about the soul. They said, whence do you come, slayer of men? So the soul is being referred to as a killer of men. These things asked the soul, whence do you come, slayer of men? Or where are you going, conqueror of space? Your soul is a conqueror of space. Just to exist is to occupy space and dimensional density. Your soul does this by inhabiting a body. So your soul is a conqueror of space because it creates. To create is to conquer space. The soul answered and said, what binds me has been slain, and what turns me about has been overcome. So the soul said, what binds me has been slain, meaning what keeps me trapped has been killed. So the soul is now free. And the soul said, and my desire has been ended and ignorance has died, right? Now, oblivion is not something permanent, right? In the next verse, in verse 23, it says, in an eon, which is an age or a spirit, I was released from a world, and in a type from a type, and from the fetter of oblivion, which is transient, right? So there's no reason to fear so-called death as some people do, because the Gospel of Mary here is telling us all is one. Everything is really one thing. There isn't any separate ego, individual self in the illusionary way that we think of it as. And all matter is illusion, and oblivion is something that is transient. It says, and from the fetter of oblivion, which is transient. Fetter means bound or trapped. So the soul is freed from the trap of oblivion, which is transient, right? Then I'll finish up this video here with this last section of the Gospel of Mary from the fragmented parts that we have. And that's why this is a very important gospel, because it exalts Mary and it shows the importance of women. It reveres women. It is uplifting to women. It's not degrading to women like a lot of these fundamentalist Abrahamic religions of modern times are, right? So verse 1 here in chapter 9, when Mary had said this, she fell silent, since it was to this point that the Savior had spoken with her. But Andrew answered and said to the brethren, "Say what you wish to say about what she has said. I at least do not believe that the Savior said this, for certainly these teachings are strange ideas." So Christ is no longer among them, and they're arguing about what he taught when he was around, right? Peter answered and spoke concerning these same things. He questioned them about the Savior. So Peter said to Mary, "Did he really speak privately with a woman and not openly to us? Are we to turn about and all listen to her? Did he prefer her to us?" Peter's like, did he prefer Mary to us? Then Mary wept and said to Peter, "My brother Peter, what do you think? Do you think that I have thought this up myself in my heart, or that I am lying about the Savior?" Levi answered and said to Peter, "Peter, you have always been hot-tempered. Now I see you contending against the woman like the adversaries. But if the Savior made her worthy, who are you indeed to reject her? Surely the Savior knows her very well. That is why he loved her more than us." Wow. "Rather let us be ashamed and put on the perfect man, and separate as he commanded us, and preach the gospel, not laying down any other rule or other law beyond what the Savior said." And when they heard this, they began to go forth to proclaim and preach the gospel of Mary.